You won't believe what Caitlin Clark performed at the Los Angeles Spark match. So stay tuned to learn 10 insane distance flicks. She is so absurd on the court that the referees believe this should be illegal. With a flick of her wrist, Caitlin Clark launches the ball from an incredible distance, testing basketball physics and demonstrating how you can defend against the deepest shot. She has space, so she's going to let it fly and connect. The defender closes in without hesitation, dribbling or fakery. Since becoming a professional, Caitlin Clark has attempted to survive, and watching the playback on a wide screen just heightens the stress by showing how far back she was 9. Crazy rocket passes with amazing footwork that is still loose on the floor. Mitch has been very aggressive on defense, and the Titans are determined to regain control tonight against the Indiana Fever. Anarchy pauses for a brief while. One appears to have the advantage when there are loose hands close to the half-court, bodies colliding, and the ball bouncing randomly. Caitlin Clark steps into the fray calm and focused, ball secure in her grip. What happens next is pure brilliance. With a quick flick of her wrist, she delivers a pass that feels impossible, laser precise, and perfectly timed. It's the kind of play that makes you question reality. The crowd erupts, cheering wildly. They know they've just witnessed greatness. For most players, this might be luck, but for Caitlin Clark, this is just another day of turning the extraordinary into routine. 8. The logo. 3. Clark launches, nails it. It wasn't just a highlight when Caitlin Clark pulled up from the WNBA sign. It was basketball magic. Out of the blue, Clark goes into Steph Curry territory and drains not one but two logo threes in a row. The crowd went crazy. Where were the defenders? Not really. It wasn't just threes. These were hope extinguishers. Defenders guarding Caitlin Clark beyond the logo is like trying to block a Wi-Fi signal with aluminum foil. It's useless and only makes you look ridiculous. Clark is located beside the telepathic help wheeler from the logo. The crowd gasped in unison as Caitlin Clark put on an incredible performance against the Washington Mystics, who clocked in at almost 10 minutes. The highlight of the game was a behind-the-back pass that was so unbelievable that it felt like destiny. With a simple flick of her wrist, without even looking, sending the ball gliding through the air and curling perfectly into her teammate's hands under the rim. It wasn't just the precision, it was the sheer audacity. She didn't look, signal, or hint. She just knew, as if she saw the play, even in slow motion replays. Nothing about Caitlin Clark was revealed. Her movements gave away nothing, didn't tell anything, and were basketball's equivalent of a master illusionist's trick, more appropriate for a Vegas showroom than on the court. Perhaps not genius, but one thing is certain. Caitlin Clark's guarding is no longer just about strength or speed. It's a mental game, and she's always 3 moves ahead, 6 the dagger, assists, has rebounds, steals, and will take the June 5, 2024 Clark versus New York Liberty game. Caitlin Clark's assist was so ridiculous that it could have been taken directly out of a wizarding duel between the New York Liberty and the defenders. The defense was laser-focused on stopping her, but they never saw it coming. The ball appeared to disappear into thin air before resurfacing in her cutting teammate's hands for a quick layup. It was just another day at the office when the ball struck her teammate and stride so perfectly that it was as if Clark had a gift. She wrapped it with a bow, dribbled it with pure brilliance in motion 5. The ankle breaker got to her. Spots of being able to affect that, and the defenders froze their expressions, screaming, "Wait, what just happened?" One. They even silently glanced at their teammate, asking, "Did you catch that?" Mark begins our step-back match against the Phoenix Mercury after the brilliant night. On July 12, 2024, Caitlin and Clark delivered a vicious dribble that appeared to be her own. The defender was struck by an unseen force, and the Mercury player, Will, who was spared for mercy's sake, staggered backwards as if they had just slipped on ice, hitting the hardwood as the audience went crazy. With the defender on the ground and the entire arena on edge, Clark, unfazed and composed as ever, stepped back behind the arc. She let the three fly, and the swish echoed like a microphone drop, perfectly punctuating the move. Watching Caitlin in that moment felt like seeing Kyrie Irving's handles meet, Steph Curry's range wrapped in her signature. Swagger's footwork and ball handling were captivating. One-on-one with Caitlin Clark was like playing a high-stakes game. Of twister on a slippery floor, right foot here, left foot there, and then you're on the ground watching her drain another dagger. The opposition Phoenix's bench sat in stunned silence, probably evaluating their defensive strategies. It wasn't just a highlight, though. It was a moment of pure humiliation for them. Someone called the insurance representative, and their ankles were broken, and claims needed to be filed, number 4. The spin cycle layup. When Caitlin gives up the ball well, the team goes on a 15-2 run from the end of the first quarter. And Clark once more heats up the game against the Chicago Sky. August 9th, 2024. This wasn't just basketball. It was a masterclass in transforming chaos into art. Caitlin Clark whirled past 2 defenders on a fast break like a ballerina on a mission, ending it off with a reverse layup, so silky it could have been sponsored by a butter company. It wasn't just a play. It was a dagger, a highlight that sealed her team's comeback and broke the spirit of her opponents. The defenders moved as if they were wading helplessly through molasses, and Clark pirouetted right past them. The center, desperate for a block, even reached out as if she was trying to snag a balloon that was just out of reach. But all she got was a front-row view of the ball, kissing the backboard and falling clean through the net. The crowd erupted in shock and joy. If this move were a code, it would undoubtedly be called spin and win, and the league might need to patch it out before she redefines what's even. Possible 3, the Clark special crazy. Pass what a pass and Caitlin's creativity in the lane was ridiculous. It was the kind of improvisation that makes game plans look like useless opponents weren't guarding her. They were auditioning for her highlight reel. In the June 22, 2024, Wallace game against the Los Angeles Sparks, the Sparks defense was unprepared for what was about to happen. Caitlin Clark, a no-look laser beam was directed at her, cutting a teammate for an easy bucket. The Spark protectors were left spinning, staring at one another as they asked, "Did you see that?" Since most players don't pause or make the obvious play during transition, Clark transformed a typical fast break into an episode of a pass number 2. An amazing assist from Lloyd Clark's range game, a swing ahead. Oh, what a moment. And Mitchell Lee's, its first. Seattle Storm, July 30th, 2024. The defense broke ankles and scrambled as if they were playing musical chairs with no chairs left. In Game 6 of the '96 finals, Caitlin Clark broke the record for the most assists ever for a rookie in a season. She did more than just break it. She took it and dunked on it metaphorically before pointing at the scoreboard like Michael Jordan. She zipped the ball from an absurd angle, as if she had opened a cheat code. She threaded the needle so deftly that it looked like she attended a tailor school. Most basketball players wouldn't even attempt this during practice because they run. The risk of hitting a Gatorade cooler or someone's mother in the front row. Caitlin held a workshop called How to Humiliate Your Opponent in 5 Easy Steps number, which embarrassed Wilson, even though she did it under duress in the middle of the game with defenders in her face. When Caitlin Clark threaded a pass through Aya Wilson's legs during a heated game, she executed one of the most disrespectful maneuvers in basketball history. Picture this. Aya, the training MVP, stood with her arms outstretched, ready to block the rookie's next move. But Caitlin, with the accuracy of a surgeon and the shooter of someone who eats half-court shots for breakfast, bounced the pass through Aya's legs as if she was training for a soccer match. She had just been drafted to the European League, so they couldn't even stay on her team. The audience yelled that they had seen a game-winning buzzer and beater, and the camera caught A trying to play it cool, but you could see the amazement in her eyes as she froze for a few seconds, apparently trying to process what had happened. By the time she did, however, Caitlin's teammate had already scored an easy layup. Meet in. Watching live basketball, it's rare to witness someone execute a move that seems like a cheat code in the NBA. Although 2KAA may have won MVP, she was just another name on Caitlin's highlight reel at the time, and the crowd left after watching a comedy show. The combination of Caitlin Clark's abilities. She is one of the most exciting basketball players due to her creativity and bravery. Her strategies not only impacted games, but also frequently sparked debates about the rules and what a fair defense should look like. If you liked this video, please like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel for more updates. Keep checking back.